Alright, we're back, and I have been doing some modding, as denoted by the fact that I can carry 9,999 items, and an equal amount of poundage. Well, actually 10 times as much poundage. Anyway, let's see. I also have modded the weapons, so specifically shout out to Bone on the Subterrain Discord, who actually did the pioneering for these updates. As, I guess he did all the legwork on this one. I was just like, oh, cool. Somebody else modded this. I literally woke up today saying, I think I kind of want to mod, Subterrain, because I know I could. Like, I found out that I could mod this game, and I was like, okay, this sounds like something I'm really going to want to do. So let's look into it. And then the answer was, somebody had already kind of beaten me to the punch and came up with a fairly reasonable rebalance of the game. And so I figured, let's see. I'm pretty sure... Is the Serious Harry the lowest tier? I guess I can check that, actually. With the 3D printer. Okay. So it's the C58. Serious Harry. Which is researchable. So we should probably make, both of these. And then throw them back into the research to make the higher tier version. I kind of appreciate that I can make it, then immediately research it. Let's do the same thing with some long knives. Because the mod that I downloaded specifically included like a rebalance for knives, and I wanted to give that a shot. Let's see. Okay. What else did I do? What else did I learn? I also learned that you're not supposed to get rid of the biomaterials that the enemies drop, which is good to know. Okay, this is going to take some time. I guess not that it matters too much. How's this going? It's going okay. So let's recycle some parts. Because, yeah, all of these are bad. And it's one of those that I think I get most of my parts back regardless. For recycling an item. So it's almost kind of easier to just recycle and then reprint what I need. I don't actually know if there's any resource loss. There might be, specifically if it's damaged from use. But I want to just kind of clear my inventory out a little bit. Did I actually build a shotgun frame? Nope, that's the one thing I didn't do. Which, speaking of, did I research that? Yes. Okay, it is plugged into the research bin. At the very least. So when does modding become cheating? Not familiar with this game, so it could well be that it was so difficult and expensive that it's not really possible to get an unbalanced advantage. So the answer is, this game isn't very hard, at least not currently. I heard the final boss is a stinker. And actually, a lot of people don't like it, and were quite mad about its existence. So there is that as a consideration. However, honestly, I would say a lot of modding is cheating. It is absolutely kind of a developer supported version of cheating, if that makes sense. Also, thank you, Mini Murgle, for the 500 bits. Mods. Carry weight is usually one of the first things I mod out in games. Yep. I will 100% always mod out carry weight. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. And I'd much rather mod the heck out of that than ever have to even think about just carry weight in general. This is just like, it works in a very small subset of games where carry weight really matters, but otherwise what it does is it just ends up kind of wasting my time as I sit around obsessing. I will sit around, well, it's not even sitting around, it's kind of the reverse, where I'm actively going back and forth just to get as much as I possibly can, and that's exhausting. Okay, nothing in here, but we want to keep researching stuff. Specifically my armor. But let's equip the better durability one. There we go. Okay, and chuck those in. So next up, there's a better... That's a way better Shotgun Flux G2. Let's see. I guess I should probably make, like, another one. Also, thank you, Careless, for the 500 bits. Thanks for all the stuff, Wander. Hey, thank you. And thank you all for the hype train. Let's see. So in this case, let's go back. Let's make... let's see. Another barrel. Another barrel. And then another shotgun. Actually... let's make another pistol. Let's make 2. Unfortunately, these are going to take some time, so I might want to just, let's see. So we got 2 pistols on the way. These are going to take some time, so I might want to just bail. Let's see. Let's grab the shotgun. Maybe the knife? I mean, the knife is certainly quick. Yeah, I'll hold on to the knife for the time being. Let's see, that's what I meant. Carry weight is simply creature comfort, not game-breaking. An M60 plasma railgun seems like it would be game-breaking. Okay, so let's go back to this topic, seeing as I deviated from a little bit, just distraction. So the answer I would ultimately give with so much of this is that most modding is cheating and is... can absolutely ruin a game from, like, a balance perspective. My personal perspective on this is that I don't necessarily mind that much, that I feel like so many games have a novelty threshold. That's what this topic was about. I wrote this down. I wrote novelty threshold, question mark, and then forgot about it for a month. But I feel like every game has kind of a novelty threshold where they're fun and interesting and new and exciting. Do I want to go back to Spirit Plaza? It didn't seem like there was really anything useful there. So let's go to the Solar Casino next. As soon as I find that T2 research, I think that's all I need to grab. Everything else is just pure resources, and I can just come back at a later date. Okay, but novelty. So for this game, for example, I would say that the novelty threshold on the gameplay is very much... I'm going to say about 4 hours. And just in terms of the basic core gameplay loop of go to location, explore, grab stuff, bring back, recycle, and build up. And the way... One second. The Solar Casino, owned by Mr. Bigelow. I remember seeing ads for it on Earth. The casino is like any other. Saps come in with cash and walk out with nothing. Due to lax laws on Mars, the casino is set up to convert property deeds into chips and allow potential fortune seekers to borrow against the future earnings. For tourists, it was the charming way to relax after ascending Olympus Mons, but for the locals, it was a form of perpetual servitude. Bigelow charged for everything, even his employees' room and board. Needs weren't comped. Mr. Bigelow didn't have a first name. His face, adorned with big aviator sunglasses, was plastered all over the place. I'd recognize that face and fake tan anywhere, though. Sunglasses or otherwise. Mr. Bigelow was Rudolph Drump. Alright. An exiled businessman from Earth. I was being hunted for a few years before I packed up for Mars. The guy was an old money kid who couldn't stay out of the spotlight. He had a small loan of a few $1 billion from his family and opened up a bunch of oil businesses, everything from siphoning to retirement. Despite the mass shift to alternative energy sources decades prior, the news was always filled with his insensitive comments about trending issues. Before long, there was a huge leak by the activist group Pseudonymous, a group that had infiltrated his private computer network. Petabytes and petabytes of information flooded the public. Extortion, fraud, bribery, he'd done it all and then some. The federal agents of Earth shut down his refineries and oil rigs and attempted to freeze his assets. It was much too late. Trump was nowhere to be found. Guessed I found him. Wonder if there's still a reward. Okay, right. I've got a flashlight. Let's see. Do I even... Yeah, I'll loot it. I've got infinite inventory space. Wow, that's accurate. A dig? Okay. Grab those. This is already feeling a fair bit better. Whoa! Where the hell did that guy come from? Stay away from that. Mulch this thing. There we go. Good knife. That's a good knife. Okay. Let's see. So what is it gonna... Right. Novelty. Novelty threshold in gaming. So, every game has, like, an upper limit on novelty. That after you reach that threshold... Holy shit, this knife! After you reach that threshold, the game starts becoming boring. You've all had it happen. You play a game, the first, like, couple hours of it are awesome. Then it starts to slow down a little bit. Then it starts to slow down to the point where, like, you're not really sure you want to play anymore, but there's still kind of that obligation that, like, well, but... I guess not obligation, I would say sunk cost fallacy. That certain point where you say, like, yeah, I don't really want to play anymore, but, like, I'm pretty close to the end, right? And so there's always kind of this back and forth in your head of, like, well, do I play this again today, or do I try something new? And you might do either, but ultimately what you end up doing is you load up another game, you play for a couple hours, and then you stop because the novelty wore off. You're not interested anymore. And this kind of rinse repeats endlessly until you find a game that actually captures you and holds you for a while. Easiest examples I could give, on a personal level, would be like Outer Wilds, Dragon Quest Builders, let's see, Outer Wilds, Dragon Quest Builders, gosh, there's probably many, many more. That once I start playing them, I can't put them down because they're so good. Now, I wouldn't say Warframe. Warframe is a game that hits its novelty threshold very fast, but what it does, and this is what a lot of games do to get around the fact that there is a novelty threshold on their game, and, like, there's absolutely gotta be a design, like, there's gotta be some kind of game design philosophy behind this one that I don't necessarily know. Shoot. This knife. Okay, stay away from that for a second. I did... All aboard the knife train. I was not expecting knives to be busted, but here we go. Now I'm just going to do this to conserve energy. Seeing as I can one-shot most of the basics without having to worry, that's exactly what I'll do. But so what Warframe does to get around the novelty is, one, by making the gameplay legitimately really fun. Like, that's an easy one. That even if the game becomes drudgery after a while, it's so fun that you can easily look past that. Which I guess kind of is the immediate alternative to the novelty threshold I'm talking about here. But, like, ultimately the game itself doesn't have that much going on for it. You've got, like, maybe 5 mission types, plus some variety here and there. But mostly they make up for it with just really interesting guns, and a lot of goals that are always just slightly out of your reach, so that you feel compelled to reach them all the same. Oh, shit. I heard about these guys. I think that's one of the bigger mutants. Could be wrong. Anyway, but so, with games like Outer Wilds, for example, maybe it runs out of charm after a certain point. But the game itself, the mystery, the exploration, doesn't. And so you finish it, and then it's done, and you feel satisfied because it didn't really waste a whole lot of your time. And so, yeah, a good story can kind of overcome the novelty threshold. Looking at you, Persona 5, you know, that was one of those games that definitively hit its novelty threshold after the first dungeon, but it just kept going and going and going, and wore on me a little bit. even if it was, like, legitimately a good game, it was still just one of those where it's like, holy crap, this game just keeps going. Let's see. And so, I find mods are a good way of avoiding the novelty threshold. That oftentimes I will install a mod once the game is starting to get boring. And suddenly it makes it novel again. So, sure, it might not be particularly fair or balanced that I have a M60 plasma railgun, but it certainly feels better. I'm having fun again. And that can prolong a game a lot more than, you know, if I just stayed totally normal. The flip side can actually be said with mods that increase the overall difficulty of a game. So, for example, I played Fallout Frost a while back, and that makes Fallout legitimately hard. Everything is lethal. Anybody can kill you. And I, like a complete fool, I played the game, well, fool. I played the game more or less completely in melee, which was even harder because all of the enemies hit like trucks. And so on and so forth. I think it was the right decision considering there was limited ammunition. But it made everything so much more fun. And, once again, so much more novel. Look forward to when I have a bigger, better flashlight. Okay. And so, it's not always necessarily cheating to have mods on, but most mods usually rebalance a game in a way that makes it easier. Okay, let's stay away from that. I didn't actually kill him in one shot. Is what it is. Grab the blood samples. This is going so much better. Like, just having this knife to blitz through most of the things I'm fighting is super nice. And so, if I didn't install this mod, this knife would be bad. I would have to hit an enemy quite a number of times before the knife actually did them in. And I'd probably be mostly using shotguns. And realistically, by the end of this game, I will probably go back to mostly using... Ow. Those little guys are hurty. Ow. Didn't realize they were there. Yeah, Fallout 4 mods made Wander go too far. You know what? To be entirely honest with you, it is very tempting to load up Fallout. And remod it again. I don't necessarily have the time for it, but I likewise didn't really have the time for a Subterrain playthrough, but I needed something concrete that I could actually finish. Do we have a bathroom in here? Yes. That's where you've heard that drinking sound somewhere else. You probably have. It's actually, it's probably a stock sound. Why is there roast beef in this bathroom? I don't know. Yeah, Outriders hasn't hit the novelty threshold for me yet. But like Diablo 3, I'm sure the end game will. I have mixed feelings on the novelty threshold on Outriders. I think what Outriders should have had was just the ability to switch classes on the fly. The biggest, most painful part of that game is the fact that you have to go through the plot repeatedly. Just to be able to reach the end game. And maybe it's not so bad, especially if you got friends. But I started as Devastator and was enjoying it thoroughly, but I definitely felt like I wasn't doing a whole lot of damage. So I decided to switch to Pyromancer, and I was like, man, I do a lot of damage. Also, I'm dying a lot, which was, you know, kind of the obvious trade-off. Let's see. But it was kind of one of those where it's like I didn't really feel particularly compelled to go through all that I had already gone through before. Like, I think the game would have been slightly better if you could have actually done kind of what you do in Destiny, where you can just pass your items over between characters. Save for maybe like a couple of class-specific ones. Like, if you had a shared stash and could pass items between characters, that would be perfect, and that would do all that I need. Let's see, Death's Door is up on stream. But it's not out yet, right? If it was out yet, I'd be rushing on that one, but I'm pretty sure Death's Door just has a Steam page. Yeah, not yet. Yeah, because having a Steam page... Like, so many games I'm looking forward to have Steam pages. But when they're out, though, that's when it matters to me. Okay, that's a random shower? So I did find out, by the way, the levels in this game are not hand-designed. They are actually procedurally generated, which I think is part of the reason why I don't like this game as much as I was originally. I think the starting locations are hand-designed. And it shows because they're actually interesting to explore and laid out in a sensible manner that actually makes sense. Whereas, wow. This was woefully uninteresting. That's a shame. Yeah. Hello, foes. Okay, there's a tongue over here. I think this is just a bar. Yeah, this is just a bar. Procedural generation is great for a lot of games, but only if they have great replayability. My main issue with a lot of procedural generation is it becomes a replacement for interesting design. That you sacrifice so much in the name of procgen, and you gain mostly just duration. Which, like, that can be a good thing. It can actually be quite good to have a game that is bigger and longer by stitching together multiple hand-designed or procedurally generated locations. So in this, it just procedurally generates a bunch of rooms. Let's see. And then they just put them together on the doorframe based on space and layout. And it's like, that can work. The big downside to it is just that, like, I've been through these rooms before, and I will be through these rooms at least 100 times each over the course of today. And so the big downside on that is just that, like, it's not fun to explore a game that is fully procedurally generated because there's no interest in it. It's kind of like Diablo. There were only a handful of locations in Diablo that actually felt like, man, I want to see more of this place. Most of the locations were very much just like, oh man, it's this corridor again. Oh, and it's stitched to itself. Or like an identical clone of itself. And after you kind of start realizing just how few tiles like Diablo 3 had, it starts to get kind of uninteresting. Diablo 2 had, like, no tiles. It was just, like, just random garbage hallways stitched together. And you know what? That was fine. If only because you got used to that very quickly and it wasn't so bad. Oh, shit. That was a group. I don't know what this is, but this is spooky. Yeah, Diablo actually has pretty fun gameplay to fit with the generation. It has pretty fun gameplay to make up for the procedural generation, in my opinion. Gosh, I should sit down and play Victor Vran at some point. As kind of like a counterpoint to the whole procedural generation thing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen or played that game. It has its flaws, but Victor Vran is actually a fully hand-designed Diablo-style game. Same thing with Grim Dawn. And I think to some degree... Oh. I think to some degree that comes at its detriment. Because there is less immediate replayability, that it's kind of like the Outriders thing of playing through it again. It's fun, but not quite as fun. Okay. Thermals are doing okay. And we already got what I came for, so I can just leave whenever I want. Okay. Oop, that's a chair. I don't want that. Random little corridor. Stay the heck away from that. Right. I have a dodge. Why have I forgotten that I have a dodge? I keep forgetting that. Oh, there is not a whole lot in here. Oh well, it's fine. But yeah, Victor Friend is cool. It's, once again, probably one of the most underrated Diablo-style games on the market, just because of, I think, bad marketing and piss-poor DLC. But the actual game itself is really, really fun to explore. Okay. Well, doesn't matter, we're going down. We already found, I think, exactly what I'm looking for. So I can just leave and come back. Let's see. I think Outriders would be better if it did best, or better if it did what Andromeda did, and allow us to pick our powers that we want to use. That'd be cool. I wish more games had the kind of build your own class mechanics. You know, let me pick from 3 different trees, stitch them together with some unique combo powers, add a bunch of, like, other unique powers on top of that, and then otherwise just let me go wild and do kind of my own thing. That'd be really cool. I don't know, there's a bunch of different things that you could do. See, Van Helsing Adventures was also pretty cool. I've never played that one. I heard a lot of people did not like the combo version, and so I never got into it. I should. I was talking about this when I was playing Slurmancer, but I'd really like to sit down and do a full series on every single Diablo-style game in existence, just to compare and contrast, and say, like, hey, this game's pretty good. Okay, let's recycle all these things. Let's see. I feel like these games will always be in the shadow of Darkwood. I think so. I think that's actually a fair comparison to make. And, well, I'm sure, you know, the developers would like to escape from that. Ooh, this research is going to take a while. So what did we get? Because we got a thing. Okay, we got the mine data chip. That's actually pretty good. Let's go turn the mine on. Which, speaking of... Ooh. Generator's starting to get a little dicey. Check reactor status. So I potentially need to make 8 full cores if I wanted to. I was really hoping I could make a higher tier core. Okay, one way or another we can turn off the casino, because I don't need to go back. I guess the last place we need to go to is Carson Hotel, which is the one that has what I need. So I think I'm going to do that before I do anything else. We'll go stick the chip in the mining machine, though. Which I think is just up here. Let's see, I'm kind of tired, but I'll make it work. But no, I would agree on the Darkwood thing. I personally need to sit down and actually play it. Because I've actually never sat down to... Oh. You want to research this? Actually, I don't know if I care. Oh, I have to. I don't have a choice. Yeah, Slurmancer is great when you have an insane build going. But the current lack of variety is kind of made the novelty starting to run out for me. And that's why I stopped playing, Slowmancer early. Because I knew that it was going to get uninteresting fairly quickly. And so it was a lot easier for me to just say, you know what? I'm just gonna leave this for a while. I'll come back in a couple of weeks, probably a couple of months. Or even a couple of years, and say like, yeah, now this game is in a state that I really want to play it. And that's okay, actually. Because there's so many other games that are already done that I can sink my time into instead. Okay, so what do we have in my inventory? I guess it doesn't matter as much. Here, let's put away all the teeth and blood samples, because apparently I need these. I need these for something. Yeah, once you learn how the actual gear system crafting works, you'll have a blast and a lot of fun for longer. Yeah, but just the utter lack of things to, like, do and fight, I'd rather just hold off anyway. And, because, sure, novelty threshold raises itself after a certain point in the game, but if I wait, the novelty threshold will just be raised for me, and I can go play something else instead. It's kind of like, the mental image of mining for fun nuggets. Sure, you can keep mining away, or you can find a richer vein and come back later. That's usually where I'm at, where it's like, I'll just come back later, have more fun at this other time, and be perfectly fine with it. Okay, so let's go knife happy. This is going so much faster. We might actually be able to beat this today at this pace. I'm sure I've probably missed out on something in these hotels, but you know what? It's okay. I don't care. You know the one thing that made Victor Vran... Oh gosh darn it. Whatever, it's fine. Let's go back. I completely forgot to actually refill my canisters. Whoops. Let's see. We should probably also get a decontamination pill. Doesn't Van Helsing have this tower defense kind of aspect? I think that's a different one. That also had hell in the name. I'd have to look it up, though. I know the game you're talking about. I thought that game was a complete flop, though, so I never played it. I probably should. Okay, now I'm good. How's Wander doing? I'm doing good. I laid down to wait for some videos to render, so I could start streaming early, and I fell asleep for 2 hours. It was a nice nap. I feel quite good about it. I forgot to get the pills. Whatever. We'll be fine. Only at 13% infection. I don't think that's gonna cause problems. And who knows, we might actually find a medbay in here. Let's see. The Carson Hotel of Mars MPO. Like a lot of off-world corporations, Burlington Intergalactic made their first foray into extraplanetary business with orbital hotels. They're wildly successful, and the fortune they amassed led to a more exotic target for the hotel, Mars. Tourism sprang up the moment the Carson Hotel opened for business. The most popular package was a week-long, all-inclusive stay at the Carson, including a hike up the tallest mountain in the solar system, Olympus Mons. Even when aided by mechanical guides and powered EVA suits, the climb takes approximately 4 hours. Never had the patience for that, but people went crazy for it. Climb Olympus Mons was the selling point for a trip to Mars itself for most folks. All of this, however, was overshadowed by the presence of Becky Burlington, socialite, celebrity, and heiress to the Burlington fortune. Becky was known as Princess to most of her staff. Becky also had a problem staying out of the spotlight. She partied pretty hard and was always ending up on the tabloid sites for drug use, soliciting, or off-color comments. In an effort to clean up her image and protect his own, her father, Wayne, sent her to Mars for rehab. The media had expected her presence on Mars to be punctuated by the same party girl antics or drug-fueled rants on social media. No one's heard from her in years, though. I really like the setting proposed by so many of these, logs. I wish that the game itself fulfilled them. Like, if you got further into this game, like, the further you go, the more weird, screwed up stuff you find. Like, this straight up has, like, some kind of rehab torture thing for, rich kids in the basement. The one problem with procedural generation is you don't really get that sort of stuff, or if you do... It's a spitter. I guess we did spot one previously. Let's see, is Van Helsing the final cut, the first version of the game, or 1, 2, and 3 altogether? I think it's 1, 2, and 3 altogether. Carl Logan's Notice. Got kind of loud. Another double shift. Sometimes I stare out the window and hope for some terrorist attack. Or that there's a massive explosion, or I don't know, anything. I'm so overworked and bored, I wish my life had some excitement. Well, fair enough. Well, it could be really cool if exploring this actually had, like, these wild locations to see and interact with. This is just a cafeteria. Holy crap. This guy's got to pee bad all of a sudden. Okay. We should be able to find a bathroom on this floor. I think there's one no matter what. Ow, shoot. This whole find the bathroom thing is actually backfiring on me pretty hard. There we go. I guess it's realistic in a way. But I'm gonna have to watch my corruption as I got kind of messed up there. Oh well, it's fine. It seems like these floors are getting shorter, but I think I'm just getting faster. There we go. There we go. Yeah, they did die. I don't need that. It's so weird. There are all of these mechanics that specifically kind of imply survival being that much tougher. I think the answer is because so much of this is balanced for the hardest difficulty. You know, where resources are hard to come by and your meters run out so much faster. But because I'm even just playing on normal, it's just kind of like, whee, I could go fast. Okay. There we go. Infected tooth. Unfortunately, as the infection rates rise, the more enemies that I'm just going to run into as I explore. You know what kind of vibes I'm getting from this game at this point? I'm getting some real Dead Island vibes, where it's just like kind of keeps going. Maybe it was just me, but I remember playing Dead Island back in the day, and it was very much kind of one of those games where it's just like, this is cool, but endless. Yeah, these are all just bedrooms. I don't really care about them. I'm also kind of confused why this character is not willing to just pee on the floor in a corner. Like, yeah, a little gross, but have you seen this place? I'm pretty sure the squigglies on the floor are straight up like alien growths. and not, you know, just the pattern. Oh no, this is where we want to go. Dead Island and Dying Light. At least Dying Light, that second region that you could get to. You know, when the game is just like, and you can go over here now. Suddenly the game just felt, I'm not gonna say better, but that felt so much better designed. So I guess I didn't mind as much. But it did feel like it was dragging on. I will agree with that one. I mean, novelty threshold, once again. Let's see, was that the following DLC? No, I actually have never played the following. It's actually one of the most, like, the absolute most requested things to put on my, to, like, do a series on. Mainly because I think my Dying Light series did shockingly well. For some reason, I'm not entirely sure why. Problem being, was that the guy I was recording it with, it didn't run on his computer, and then we stopped being friends, so it was very much just kind of like, well, I don't know if I want to do a series on this solo. So that might be something that I specifically load up with Shell or someone else at a later date, and we just play through it again. Dying Light. Because it's, like, it's a legitimately fun game. Ampo broke my leg. Up a medkit. How am I doing corruption-wise? We're doing okay. So I can't move fast anymore. I don't know how much of a problem that's going to be. Shit. They got tough. Okay, this actually very much seems like kind of where I want to go. I'm looking for a lab. I don't think this is going to be it. Because I have to use a keycard to get into it. But this might be closer to what I want. Then again, I've got 5 whole floors to potentially find what I'm looking for, so this might still take a while. Okay, finish them all off, grab the nail. Yeah, we're doing fine. Let's see, anything remarkable happened so far? Well, I cleared the casino pretty quick. Ow. There we go. And now I am, now I'm in the hotel. There we go. Because the hotel has, at least potentially, the engineering upgrade that I'm looking for. But yeah, as far as mods go, slight rebalance on some of the weapons. Mostly, I didn't see him. It's fine. Mostly what I did was I gave myself infinite carrying capacity, so I can carry a heck of a lot more stuff. Otherwise, the weapons are a little bit better. Specifically, knives and, like, generic melee weapons. Okay. Gotta watch out for the biggins just a little bit. Because they can actually wreck me. I don't actually know how much damage they do. They do a fair amount. They do enough that I need to respect them as opposed to just kind of pointedly ignore their existence. Let's see. Oh, this is just an apartment. Okay, super not interested in this. What are those anemone things supposed to be? Weird mutant alien creatures? I don't know if this game has a bestiary. It'd be kind of cool if it had one so I could read about these creatures. Because you really think the main character being a scientist dude, there we go, would actually kind of name and categorize. And potentially even research them. Looks like a bedroom. Oh, but he did drop a bit. Wow. Knife really does damage. I gotta look into that. Okay, found the elevator. Which means power room's right here. Seems like a relatively reasonable spot for me to... There's the staircase. Relatively reasonable spot for me to go back. Let's probably clear the rest of the floor, just real quick. There we go. Nothing interesting in here, and whoops, that's the wrong button. So there might be some more over here if I wanted to go get cracking. I guess I should. I don't necessarily know what floor this secret lab I'm looking for is on, so I have to just kind of keep looking. Plus, also gems. It's just a bathroom. What else we got around here? I don't know. Teeth. I don't exactly remember what I'm supposed to be holding on to. Ooh, that contamination actually tracks pretty quick. Then again, probably so much of that has to do with the fact that I am tanking a lot more shots here. Now that I'm absolutely loaded for resources, it's a little easier for me to just be kind of, I'm not going to say uncaring, but, wow, all that just to come back here. So did every breaker on the base flip, or did someone run around turning off all the switches? You know, honestly, don't know. I think actually, yes, the breaker on the base must have flipped. It's not only the first floor, gosh. But yeah, the virus lives in darkness and cold, so it's probably been sabotaging the power generation. Or, flip side, the generator is damaged. And so, there's a very real possibility, like, even in the state that I found it, like, it could only support a couple of locations. Ooh, we're tired. Probably why my fatigue is so high, but whatever. But it probably could only support a couple of locations without failing, or absolutely could only support a couple of locations without failing. And so, so chances are, while we were in prison, that's when the power went out proper. And so we have to kind of reactivate everything, at least flip the breakers. But we have all of the power control in our main base. Let's see, I haven't gotten attacked yet, right? No. That's a bunch. Get rid of all of these. But I want to grab an SMG. Nah, I'm so close to getting the next tier. I don't think it's really worth it. And I know I'm supposed to hold on to some of that stuff. Or did they change it? No, these are still 50%. Okay, next up, go fill up these metrics. Yeah, let's go take a decontamination pill and then probably just rest. Let's see, where would they'd be? Probably in here. There we go. I'll have to fabricate some more at some point. Alright. So we're still a little hungry, we're still a little thirsty. I don't think I need to bring more food with me. We usually find more food than we use. I have perfect timing with the research. The main thing is I don't necessarily want to bother with it yet. I can't turn on another location, and I really want to find the engineering chip from the Carson Hotel. Because once I find the engineering chip, then I can make the Mark II generators, which will decay... Well, which just have a much higher power capacity, so I can keep the whole base on. And then I can keep the rest of the base on permanently. Right now, I could plug in the chip for the mining, and then just kind of not use it. Let's see. I'm definitely digging using the knife, if only because, like, the melee in this game just feels kind of efficient. Sure, I do take a couple more hits than I ought to, but whatever. It's fine. Boy, I was freezing in here in the morning. Now I'm toasty. Maybe I should become a morning streamer. That would be... Oh. Well, dang, the thing I'm looking for is right over there. It's interesting that it's been very consistently on floor 2. Actually, no, this is floor 1. No, this is the bathroom. It's over in here. Briefcase. Engineering data chip. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. I'll be home late. The employees are all chipped in to throw me some kind of party. I know. It's sudden. That's the cost of greatness, though. You have to make up for you have to make time for all the little people who just want to be close to you. They just want to celebrate how much light I'm bringing to their pathetic lives. Yeesh. It's no big deal. I think you should sit this one out. The party is at the dumpy apartment in the Ares district. I'd rather not have you suffer that and wade through lesser people all the time, or the entire time. I'm not sure when I'll be back. My employees love me, and I have a feeling they won't want me to leave once I get there. So don't wait up. The thing with all of these chips is that they're not actually that interesting. Kind of tragically. It's that there's a linear upgrade system. It's so weird. I spent a fair bit of the first episode of this, or first stream of this praising a lot of this game. And then the more I get into it, I think the more it wears off a little bit.